Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin here today to show you something that's a little disheartening, and that is a really nice looking counterfeit 50 peso that came through the store, and a very convincing piece because it actually looks like gold. It's a really nice looking piece. We'll take a look at it up close and personal. And first, I do have an XRF machine, which I'm not going to be able to show you really well here, but I'm going to go ahead and use it on this bad boy. And it's, coming back gold plate probable, 87 AU, 12% carat, CU carat. Oftentimes on a bigger piece of metal, you want to test it in a couple different spots and see how the reading comes back. But same thing here, it came back with a 13% copper rating. Usually the way the XRF machines work is that if you get a rating that's in that 12-13% range, it's often gold plated. And the thing that's tricky about that, of course, is that these coins are supposed to be 90% gold. So if they test at 89, 88%, you think, oh, they're okay. They could be okay. So one of the things to look at on this coin up close and personal is just going to be some of the finishing touches. And we're going to start looking at, you see that divot right in the center of your screen? That is a very typical, those little like when you go golfing and you leave a spot behind, that's what those are, those little divots. That is pretty typical of counterfeits in general. And counterfeits, if they're taking a real coin and they're making copies of them by taking impressions, oftentimes it leaves little air bubbles and pock marks, which happens to do one or two things. It'll be these little depressed areas in there, or sometimes you'll see little pimples. It's one or the other, sometimes both. So one of the things to note on this piece, of course, is actually just how well made it is as far as the overall structure and design goes. In fact, up close, this is more convincing to me than it is far away. And by that, I mean, if you've ever, if you want a good book, there's a book called Blink, which talks a lot about this, about being able to see things from a distance versus up close. This, to me, the coin from a distance looks not real, as someone who's seen a lot of them. But I could never tell you why. I mean, if I just looked at this coin next to another one and said, it's not real, I couldn't tell you why. Also, on this coin, I wish I had a real one to show to you to compare it with, but I didn't have one at the time. So we're going to roll with what we got here. So this thing weighs 41.5 grams. It's supposed to weigh 41.66 grams. And that is something that, usually on a piece of this size, they're actually going to be really, really close in weight. That little 1/10 of a gram off, 0.15 off, is actually a pretty big deal on this particular piece. So once again, on a piece like this is the kind of piece that's going to fool most people. And I would tell you that, just be careful out there. A lot of the diagnostics are these up close little marks. There's a couple more. And they look different than a gouge mark would look on a coin. So first of all, they're almost always in some way circular, or they look like a BB or a pellet was sitting in them. And they also don't look like a mark has happened into the coin. So when you see a coin that has like a gouge or a hit or a ding, it is usually some type of a sharper impression, and there's usually some type of a color change from where the hit is. And on these, it looks a little bit more like you would see with a lamentation. For those of you who know, lamentations are where the metal gets pulled up. I am all over the place this morning. Lamentations. That's where we lament things. I just went straight into lamenting things. Laminations. Lamentations. People. Don't try this at home. Now, I want you to look at this line here that's running from the C through the O and dos. Do you see that line that's popping up? running all the way across there. That would have been from a scratch in the original coin that they cast from, and that's why it ends up as a raised line on the other side. Anyway, very, very convincing piece, and the type of thing that you just got to be careful for and careful of. So if you're out there using one of your XRF machines, just understand that how they work. The first couple times you test something larger, if there's a thick gold plate, it'll actually register as pretty close to the right thing, and so it can be fooled. And once again, generally speaking, just going with somewhere that's a trusted place where they can sniff stuff out for you is definitely worthwhile. All right, well, I hope that helps you out a little bit. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.